So the first step was draining out all the old gas. I had run it really low, but I just wanted to make sure all of the fuel was out so we could be as accurate as possible, because this is about 45% ethanol. It was some sort of blend I had in there of E85 and gasoline, and I wanted it all gone so we could just start fresh. 100% 91 octane and methanol. So got a video of me draining it just to prove that everything's out, and we're going to be as close to just that baseline 8% ethanol on the 91 octane as possible before we start blending methanol. So the first step was to drain out all the old fuel. I've got the vessel here just as proof that it's all drained and a little video of it draining. I had about 40% ethanol mix on a flex fuel blend in there, and I just wanted it all gone. So I ran it as low as I could possibly get it and then drained it out, and it looks like there was maybe a couple gallons in there. But I've got the 91 octane from Costco. This is like 8-ish% ethanol when we tested it on the flex fuel sensor. That's our baseline. And then the M1 methanol. So now that this is out, we're just gonna go put 5 gallons in the tank, and we'll start pouring in the methanol to see what we can get as far as a blend goes. I don't have a really accurate way of measuring out gallons. I would have thought that this tank right here that comes with, it says 20 liters and 5 gallons, but it's actually like 5 gallons metered at the pump is like down here, and the 5 is right here. It's kind of hard to see, so I don't really trust these cans, but really it doesn't matter because I can just pour in methanol, let it mix, and use the flex fuel sensor to tell me exactly what the concentration is. I can get it close and we can go from there. So we'll just try it in a few different blends of the methanol with the gasoline and see how the flex fuel responds, and see if the car will run right, if we have to make any changes to that fuel multiplier on the flex fuel sensor. So let's move on to the next section. Got the fuel in. It's dark outside, and it was kind of a pain to get a video of me putting this in the car, but you'll just have to take my word for it. The 91 octane is now in and ready to do a little test. I think what I'm going to do first is just do a baseline drive with the 91 octane, make sure I have like good data for what all the air fuel ratios are currently, and then start blending methanol in, and then we can show what the changes are, and see if the lambda values are close on flex fuel as they are on ethanol. So we'll jump into it. Welcome back. I've got the 91 octane in. Between what was in the fuel lines and the filter and everything, we're about 10% ethanol content. And the E85 correction, ethanol correction, is at 100, so that means it's not changing the fuel map at all. I've got it set so that it's that's your baseline now. And idling right around 12. This thing, it just likes to idle fat. It's batch fire, so it just is fat and happy. Even if I lean it out, it just starts to get unstable without an idle valve. But anyway, gonna do a baseline test and see where our AFRs are before we start blending. Let's go. All right, the time has come. Let's dump some methanol in the tank. I've got a funnel here. Let's see if we can make this happen. This funnel is funny. It doesn't like to stay in super well, but pop the cap off this and try not to spill copious amounts of methanol. Try to get a feel for how much is in there. Okay. Okay, so I'm just gonna go till it's like halfway. I think 2.5 for the amount of gasoline I have in there should be good. Yeah, let's try that. Let's go with that and see what we do. All right. Now to the computer. Okay, we just put about 2.5 gallons of methanol in, and now we're ready to fire it up and see what the ethanol content changes to. It'll be a second, I'm sure. As soon as it starts pulling some stuff from the tank, it'll jump up, I'm sure. Oh, there we go. 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Okay, cool. So, might keep jumping as it mixes up, but we're looking around 30%, which, according to my chart, let's see if I can get this to focus. That's about 20% methanol, so we'll try this. See how it goes. Do a little data log. It's going down in 11s, that's good. As you would expect, my laptop is having issues connecting right when I need it to, but let me just roll into it here. You can see it's going right down to the 11s where I've had it tuned, so the flex fuel is working really well. I can't wait to get a data log, but my computer is just being a POS right now. Alright, got the laptop working finally. It looks like we're at 34% on the ethanol content sensor, which puts us in the low 20s on methanol content. So everything's going good so far, just cruising along. One thing I've noticed with the methanol blend is that it can cruise super lean. Like if I get it in the right spot, it's in the 16s, 17s, and it just runs really smoothly. Like it doesn't skip a beat, doesn't have problems like gasoline would. Alright, with 20% methanol on a hot start, just want to show you kind of what that's like. So this is just literally flicking the key. Okay, so I've got my laptop ready to go. My container of methanol has like, I don't know, 2.5-ish gallons left. So I'm just going to put the rest in and see what the ethanol content is. On the ethanol content sensor, as of right now, it has 35% ethanol content on this gauge, but with my methanol chart for the values that I've found, it's about low 20% methanol. So I've tried to drive it, run it a little bit lower. It's got like 4.5 gallons of that blend in there right now. So I'm hoping when I put this in, I can get up to around 50%. We'll see what it ends up being. I don't have my tripod. I lent it, so I'll just have to pour it and then get back as soon as it's done. We'll go check this out. Okay, it's pretty much all in there. There was a part that was a little bit hard to get out, so we'll just see how far it gets. There's not much left in there, so I'll just pull this guy out and go check the ethanol content. Okay, so it was about a quarter, right around a quarter before. Now it's up to just a little under half. I got the methanol in the car and we'll see what it does. It takes a second to come up. Once it starts pumping, we'll see what it does. It's gonna start jumping here just in a second after mixing in the tank. Oh, there we go. It's coming up. It's coming up. Okay, so 50-ish, 60. It probably will end up closer to 60. It takes a minute to mix all that in the tank, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see where we're at. Yeah, it's getting there. It'll get up to about 60, which I think 63% is our 50% methanol mark, so we're pretty dang close. Cool, very cool. Let's we'll go give it a drive. Sounds like it's still running great. The ethanol content is compensating, so we're getting 30% more fuel. Sounds healthy, so perfect. All right, first impressions at 50% methanol by volume. I have my laptop, but the cable kept coming disconnected, unfortunately. Luckily, I got a data log in on some poles, but it's a lot leaner in the cruise areas and like part throttle off idle stuff. But under boost, I was still in like the 11.8s, 11.5. I'll have to check the data log when I get back, but it's been just cruising nicely and makes really good power. Feels, I think, I don't know, I'm doing butt dyno, but it feels better than ethanol. It's pretty spicy under boost, so we'll have to see how it goes on the data log. We'll check that out when we get back. Overall, working really well, like surprisingly well. This is awesome. Welcome. Thanks for joining me on this little experiment. I just wanted to show you kind of how it all got started to begin with. So if you just research methanol blending in Google, you just start looking up different things like methanol blending by volume, octane number, you'll see that there's a ton of information and many, many scholarly articles. Most of these are actually scholarly articles that you have to access through online libraries. But I just started, jumping through this, and I stumbled upon this article. Actually, it won't let me open it right now because you have to log in through like a university account. But basically, the basis of this research that was presented was that you could use methanol as a drop-in replacement for E85, essentially. So if there was a need to stop making ethanol from corn and using methanol from natural gas or different sources like gasoline production, you could essentially use it as a drop-in. And something that really piqued my interest was this chart, because this chart is the same chart that I tried to replicate in my experiment, which is using a GM ethanol content sensor from 50 to 150 hertz and mapping out the blends by volume of methanol versus ethanol. So basically, they mapped out this blend of 44% gasoline and 56% methanol, and found that it had a very similar response to 15% gasoline and 85% ethanol, so E85. So that was my whole light bulb that came on when I was looking into this project was, okay, well, if I blend methanol on this content sensor it up to the point where it matches E85, I should be able to use the flex fuel sensor just as is. If not, there's a lot of adjustments in flex fuel. Like if you go to, let's see, let me try to find where it is. I'm always forgetting. So if you look right here in the ethanol content menu here, you can, oh, that doesn't really help. You can adjust your parameters. So you can say your sensor frequency, we would leave that alone, ethanol mix 0 to 100, and then this fuel multiplier, we could change this if we needed to. If we felt like there was a little bit different curve, which there is, for methanol, we could adjust this. It would probably be increasing it substantially if you went 0 to 100% methanol, but um, my approach to this project was to see if, as this is, if it would work for methanol up to a 50% blend of methanol and gasoline that would match the stoichiometric value of E85. That's another thing in researching here, is that I found that this blend, this M50, so 50% methanol, was a very similar stoichiometric value to 85% ethanol. So I figured, you know what? It's all the flex fuel sensor is already set up for that. Why wouldn't it work? And so that set off my research there. And there is so much information you can find. I encourage anyone who wants to just dig into scholarly articles to go for it. But there's like boiling points and densities, all different information about these blends, about the 50% methanol that you can take a look at. Let's go like this. Yeah, right here. Yeah, you can check that out. But anyway, my whole goal was really in this project just to see if I could use methanol blended up to 50% in a flex fuel equipped vehicle and have success, especially like in a performance application. So with that being said, here's my findings from last time. When I actually mapped out the values with the flex fuel sensor, I found a dramatically similar curve to what was presented in this paper. Let me see if I can get back to it. I'll have to turn it a couple more times, but a little bit too much, sorry. There we go. Found a dramatically similar line, and then it just flattens out at the top. My findings were very similar. This is it. These are my numbers. This is the output of the flex fuel sensor in percent ethanol. And this is actual methanol content by volume on the sensor. So today we were right around 63% on that blend that I put in, the final blend. So that gives us, just under 50% methanol in my blend, and it was running fairly well. Very under boost, it was still in the 11.8, 11.5 area that I saw in the wideband, but we're about to check the data. So let's get into the data. Thank you for following along. Let's see. Okay, to give you a baseline, here's my 91 octane baseline, and I did a couple polls. Let's see. This one would probably be like a good one to bounce against. Air fuels on this are pretty fat. 11.0, it bumps into 10.8 sometimes. It's supposed to be just like low 11s for safety, especially when I turn up the boost a little bit. But yeah, 10.9, 10.8 air fuel at full boost. And yeah, duty cycle on the injectors is 43%. EGT. The EGT is a little lagging because it takes a minute for the probe to fully heat up. But yeah, that's my baseline right there. So I was looking at like, very low 11s, high 10s on the air fuel. So then we blended. This is my 35% methanol test, which is actually on my chart. When I say 35%, I put in what was on the ethanol content sensor. So that is actually right around low 20s, 20% methanol. So on a light blend of methanol, let's see where we're at. Let me jump into this. This one wasn't a good poll, I think. Let me see. Yeah, this one would be better. Right here, so you can see it get up into boost. 7, 8, 9, 10 pounds. Let's go. I think there's got to be another run. Let me back out of here. There's got to be another run where it gets up into higher boost that like is very similar to where we were. Okay, here we go. Yeah, so there's 14 PSI and we're at 10.7, 10.8 AFR. So if anything, even a little more rich. So it looks like that, 20%-ish blend of methanol works really well. Like it's basically the compensation is matching. Like if I go here, I'll add flex. I think it's let's ethanol E85 correction right here. So right now it's giving a 12% correction in fuel at 20% methanol content, which is also, I mean, it also has that, you know, that 10% of base ethanol that's in pump 91 in my area. So anyway, this worked really well. So let's go to the last one. This is 63% on the ethanol content sensor. So we are looking just under 50, high 50, or sorry, yes, high 40s percent ethanol or methanol. I get them mixed up so often when I'm saying them. But anyway, this one was really surprising today. It was low 10s, or sorry, low 11s air fuel. So it definitely, there's a little spike right there, but it was definitely very safe. Like I didn't have to do any manual corrections, but I would assume as that blend goes up, if I were to keep pouring more and more in, that I would need to go back into the flex fuel sensor settings and add some fuel multiplier percentage on the high end. Basically what I'd want to do is scale this to match the sensor output. So when you have when you max out the sensor at around, I think it was what, 80-ish% methanol, you would want to put that as your upper limit for the flex fuel settings. But I didn't really have to in my case, and really my goal was just to run 50% methanol. I didn't have any other reason to try more. There's a lot of reasons that you wouldn't want that. Methanol by itself is corrosive and hygroscopic, just like ethanol is, and it is very dry. It doesn't have a lot of lubricity properties, so it's, in my opinion, best to leave it blended with gasoline, especially in like the, you know, the less race oriented setup with like just a standard flex fuel kind of streetcar setup that a lot of people would normally run, trying to mess around with ethanol. So really, I feel pretty stoked. I kind of made a hypothesis that this would work based on what I had read in this research, and it works really well. I am curious of what other data I can find. I'll probably do an update video later as I find out more. You can definitely see the duty cycle on the injectors. I think it went from 43% on gasoline at full boost to, let's see, 43 to 60 odd. Let's see at max boost here. Yeah, 43 to, oh, sorry, PC. To, yeah, 60 odd percent, which makes sense. I mean, it's using more fuel, but that's about as much as I've seen on ethanol as well. And like I said, all I was trying to do was match the output of E85. And I looked through the EGTs. Honestly, all of them are about 740 degrees Celsius. I didn't really notice like a huge difference between ethanol, methanol, and gasoline. Gasoline is a little bit hotter, but that's about all I could see. So I appreciate you taking the time to watch this. I hope someone else can make use of this and try it in their own machine. Obviously, you know, take cautions and try to make use of some of the benefits of methanol. Thanks for watching. Appreciate you guys. If you're interested in more stuff like this, I would appreciate if you give me a like and a subscribe. I know that sounds stupid, but it really is the only thing that grows the channel. So thank you again.